Hello, how are you guys doing? This is Catz for nerdstomper.com, and I'll be bringing you an instructional video on how to deal with cannon rush once again. Last one was cannon rush prevention, so that we could see how I prevented the cannon rush from happening, and we took the advantage from there. And this game instead is gonna be a game where Mouse Tosh, aka Mouse Mana, the very good Polish player who recently finished second in DreamHack, is gonna try to do against me in the Justin TV Invitational tournament that I recently won with a lot of really good players. So I was very happy about that. Congratulations to me. Thank you, Catz. No problem, Catz. And we will see how this game progresses. As you can see, we're spawning on the close air positions, which is going to allow my overlord to see him sometime soon here. And this is something that you should always do. So my overlord's going to see him and retreat. Mouse Mana is not aware that my overlord is there. As you can see, this is his vision. He has no idea that my overlord is there. Of course, he's a really good player, so he doesn't really care about that, and he's gonna scout me first anyways. So he's gonna scout the close air positions regardless of whether he sees my overlord or not, which is a really good choice. But you should always try and prevent your opponent from seeing your overlord. At this point, I can show my overlord up and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I was here," because he has already scouted me with his probe. So my position is already revealed. Now we will see I put a drone on the probe because I see no structures yet, and there it is, there's the forge. So it was a good thing to put my drone on that probe and follow it. And now he's gonna try to cannon rush me. Pause. See how he drops the first pylon, right? If he drops the second pylon here, then my ramp is blocked, and that can't happen. Because if your ramp is blocked here, you'll be in a really, really bad position. And it's going to be incredibly hard to deal with the cannon rush. So as soon as he drops the first pylon, I'm going to block it with a drone. And the way I'm going to lock my drone to the position is the quickest way I can think of, which in this case is going to be right-clicking on the pylon so that it starts attacking it. Of course, if I attack the probe instead, Mouse Mana could quickly go around and drop the pylon while my drone chases. So it's okay for the drone to take damage as long as you're really fast and go back to your base, pull a few drones, and make sure you deal with this appropriately. In the previous game, we saw Kapok do something really very similar to this. What that resulted on was him just canceling this pylon and being like, okay, this is not gonna work, and just leaving, correct? In this case, he chose to continue the aggression with the pylon and brought two probes that were happily scouted by my overlord. So I know there's two more probes coming, so my reaction to that is going to be sending a whole lot of drones. I want you to note that I haven't dropped the spawning pool yet, and let me pause here for a second. We're at 18 food and I haven't dropped the spawning pool. Why? Because I'm dealing with a cannon rush. Okay, that means my circlings are not going to be out in time to help out with this. So instead, I want as many drones as I can possibly get, because the best and most effective way to deal with it is not letting the cannons ever go up. So we managed to kill those probes, and now he's got, just 3 cannons. He's pretty committed to this. He doesn't have all that much money, but as you can see, I pulled 3, 6, 9, 11 drones from the line. So prevention is gonna work out really good for me. He devoted a lot of minerals to this, not just in the pylon and the cannons that he had to cancel, but also just by the mere fact that he had to drop a forge. His gateway is super delayed, and now he's getting 2 gas. As you can see, I also sneaked in a drone. So now I have 2 options here, correct? I can be really aggressive and take advantage of the fact that he's a little bit behind and trust that he is not gonna be able to deal with whatever I throw at him, Or we can do what we did in the game against Kapak, where we went for the safer pattern, droned up pretty well, like pretty hard, and ended up getting higher tier units, Hydralisks, to deal with all the gateway shenanigans that he threw at me. So I will actually choose to do neither. Why? Because I have a drone here. So I'll do one of my signature builds, proxy hatchery. Don't say. And as we can see, my spawning pool is going down, so I'm not too worried about this probe in particular, because I will have circling soon. My creep is already covering his block. I can easily stop that cannon with just 3 drones. He tried to drop a gateway there to make his cannon link-proof or harder to attack per se. I am now dropping 2 extractors and preparing to go on tech pattern way. So my original plan was, and let's pause here, my original plan was to go for Hydralisks once again, just like we saw against Kapak. At this point in time, I have more drones than him, so I'm at a much better spot than I was against Kapak for very obvious reasons. He did the cannon rush, Kapak did not. Mana chose to do it and failed at it. So that gives us an even bigger advantage because he does not have an expansion. I have more drones. And now I can happily tech to Hydralisks and expect a pretty good result. However, I see he is dropping a really, really risky Nexus. Of course, he's dropping this Nexus from the information that he gathered as well. He saw me dropping 2 extractors and thought, okay, he is teching, so he's not going to have units for a little bit. You know, it's unlikely. I'm not even researching metabolic boost, and he knows it. So he thinks he can deal with whatever I throw at him up until he can get a few warp gates or something like that up. However, me on the other hand, I am also gathering information with my Overlord. So I see this Nexus go down, and as soon as I see that Nexus go down, I say, okay, I'm going to drop a hatchery in your base. The reasoning to that is not as complex as it seems, and it's not something that I had planned. As you could see, I was going to go for the tech pattern. But since I saw the Nexus, I dropped the hatchery as a response, because I know that it's going to be really, really hard for him to defend both from his own main and from his entrance at 2 different points. The reason for this, of course, is he's relying on the Forge, which provides him static defense. What that means is, if he has cannons here, he's not going to have cannons here. And if he has cannons here, he's not going to have cannons here. Unless he is some sort of beast of another planet. But that's not the case, because beasts of other planets do not play this game, with the exception of myself. So we will see now that I am quite ahead in supply, and this is all as a result of that cannon rush. I'm gonna apply some pressure with Zerglings, and showing Zerglings in the front is gonna basically tell him, hey, you kinda can't get away with anything that you wanna do. You know, I will be poking at you, I will be aggressive with you, I'm showing you my Zerglings, I'm ready to harass you. So you better prepare for it. You better drop more cannons here, here, wherever you need them, because I'm gonna be annoying. Meanwhile, my hatchery on his base is ready. And as some of you know, I really like making roaches off of this hatchery. The reason, again, is quite simple. When you have a hatchery inside someone's base, you're not gonna be able to make that many units. You're limited to whatever larvae you have on that hatchery, which is gonna translate into, if you make links, you don't have that much. But if you spend your money on more costly units like roaches, then you'll have a fairly bigger force. As you can see, and let me pause here for a second, Mana is quick to bring a lot of drones or probes to stop this, and meanwhile I'm gonna go ahead and harass him here. Why? Because his units are here. What does that mean? He's not gonna have his units here. It's pretty fantastic how common sense works sometimes. So we will see. I pick off a couple probes. That's all good with me. Pick up one more probe, one more. So 4 probes for 6 Zerglings, definitely a good exchange. And meanwhile here, I am just saving up larva. Why? Because if I get 1 roach at a time, these guys will be able to deal with it. Now if I get 6 roaches at a time, that's a different story. What is he gonna have? What can he do against 6 roaches at the same time? Nothing too much. Plus the roaches that I have on his front. So he has his hands full, and on top of that, I'm way ahead on every other count. My tech pattern is ahead, my drone counts are ahead, everything I have is ahead. And this is, again, this is all a result of the failed cannon rush. So do not try this at home unless you know what you're doing. But of course I'm just trying to show you that cannon rushing for the Protoss is essentially in many ways an all-in. It's not an all-in because it will not lose you the game instantaneously, but it will set your opponent so far behind that if you're a good enough player, or if you are smart enough and are thinking clearly enough, it's gonna be incredibly hard to catch back up against a good player. So as we see, we're now powering down his unit producing structures. He's down to 6 probes. This is not looking very good for mana. All he has is 4 stalkers, which of course are gonna be really good against roaches, but he is far behind at this point. As you can see, I'm basically mining off of my 2 bases with, I don't know, I'm pretty bad at math, but I would think that's 5 times his, 5 times, what's 5 times 6? 20, no, it's 32, right? I don't know. But I have a lot more drones than him. So we see now I'm doing a little sandwich. See you, stalkers! And he's gonna GG and be forced out of the game. So that is another way to deal with cannon rushes, and transition out of them, most importantly. But again, the game all goes back to the cannon rush that failed. So when you get cannon rushed, if they block your ramp, forget about it. Look for something else to do. Actually, if they block your ramp, this proxy hatch, if you have a drone inside his base, is an incredibly good response. And I might show you something like that later, because I did pull it off on Whitebra, the beast from the east, the very good Ukrainian player. But you know, if they don't block your ramp, and you should be able to prevent that, as long as you are paying attention to what probes are coming, try to chase the probe. If you see more probes coming, send more drones. And don't be afraid to use all of your drones, or have a late pull, because there are no units coming unless they drop a gateway first, of course. But there are no units coming if they drop the forge first, so don't be afraid to use all of your drones if need be, because once you stop the cannon rush, you'll be ahead and you'll have control of the game. Okay? Thank you guys very much for watching. Oh, quick tip actually before. As soon as the cannon starts, you need 3 drones on each cannon, and that should be more than enough to kill it right before it finishes. So as soon as it starts, 3 drones on the cannon. That's the perfect amount. However, if it started a little bit ago, you might want to put 4 or 5. So try and spread your drones that way too. That will make it more effective. But again, thank you very much for watching. This is Catz for Nerd Stomper, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.